the next two kits we're going to put up are the button fern kit and the mini button fern trio kit, I think. Now the button fern is another one of my absolute favourites. It trails, it drapes, it's a beautiful shade of green. I think it looks beautiful styled in any kind of interior space. So, and it's really hard to kill and really easy to look after. So what more could you want? I'm going to show you how to pot up the button fern kit because the trio is basically that times 3, just so I'm not boring you rigid. And then I will also go through the care because the care is exactly the same. And yes, in terms of styling this kit, it would look beautiful on a tablescape, but then also you can kind of dot them around the home so that you're, you know, benefiting from the sort of air cleaning sort of qualities that these ferns have all over your home. So let's begin. So you will have your gravel, your compost and your 2 different types of moss and your plant and pot. So we'll start by putting in the gravel. Now in the trio you just split the gravel in between the 3 of them. It's just to add drainage so that the roots aren't sat in moisture for too long. And then you're adding in some compost on top of the gravel and then using your plant to sort of work out how much more compost you want. So you want the plant to sit about 1 or 2 centimetres below the rim of the pot. That way that when you water it, it means the water's not going to go over the sides, it's going to drain down through the compost to the roots, which is where you want it. And it means also that then you can add the moss and it sits nice and flush with the pot. So taking your fern out and simply popping it down onto the compost, and then you can sort of almost, like you would if you were doing, you know, a ponytail or something, you can hold the button leaves in your hand and then add in the compost around. Now this would be the same with the trio, and I am going to make a mess, I always do, I never learn, but that's part of the fun I suppose. Just adding in the compost around the edges of the plant. There we go, and then just gently sort of compressing that down. A little bit more at the front, and that's perfect. So that would be the same for your trio. So you'd add in probably more compost at the bottom, using your plant as a sort of gauge as to see where you want it to sit. And then you would add in your compost all the way around the plant. And now we can add in our moss. So you have your sphagnum moss, which is this sort of 2-tone dried moss. So that can just be broken up and placed on top of the compost. You know, you can allow it to trail down over the sides, which I think looks lovely and nice and relaxed. And then adding in the flat moss, which is the sort of woodlandy one. That just goes on top of the compost as well. In terms of care for your button ferns, they like to be kept damp. They don't like to dry out. So keep the soil nice and damp, but not waterlogged. So you don't want it to be dripping wet. And then when any water kind of collects and pools in the saucer, that can be discarded. That way you know the roots aren't sat in that water, because that can cause root rot. Place somewhere in indirect sunlight, and what I mean by that is not a south-facing window. But apart from that, anywhere in the home, you can put it in an office, in a bathroom, you know, somewhere where it's really dark, you could put it there. Yeah, you could put it on a table, you could put it on a kitchen island, you can put it anywhere, just not on a south-facing windowsill, so that it doesn't get scorched by the sun. So that's what I mean by indirect sunlight. I know it's something that I get messages about asking exactly what I mean by that. And that's about it. You know, if you've got any leaves that have gone a bit yellow, that's fine, just take them off. It doesn't mean it's dying. It's just, you know, maybe the nutrients haven't got to those leaves, or maybe the sun hasn't quite reached that spot. So that's fine, you just cut them off with some scissors. And that's about it. I hope you enjoy just watching it trail and drape as it grows. So that is your button fern kit and your mini button fern trio kit.